This is newsreader George Alagaya. He was born in Sri Lanka, I believe, and he then went to live in Ghana, and he turned up in the UK, and now he's apparently a much loved newsreader wearing a poppy. Don't know what. So listen, nothing against Mr. Alagaya, but he's just a newsreader. All he does is he reads stuff that's put in front of him. There's nothing important about this job. Anyone who can read English is capable of reading the news. And yet, for some odd reason, in Britain, we are lauding people. I mean, these people have become personalities. And another thing is, the BBC and television in general seems to have a lot of ethnic minorities in newsreader positions, far out of proportion to the general public. It is the BBC, is it not? And yet you have Trevor McDonald and Moira Stewart and so many others. There is an agenda at work here. We are being presented with a cast of multiracial people who don't have any particular talent, but are put in front of us at high salaries. Don't forget, Mr. Alagaya is very, very well paid. I don't think he's earning shelf stackers' wages. And yet it is the BBC. I suggest that the cult of the newsreader and the way in which so many of our newsreaders are from ethnic minorities is part of social transformation and a planned policy of diminishing the role of ethnic British people in the UK. Right? It's getting to the stage now where you'd actually be quite surprised if an English person was on the television. Right? But once again, I'm glad that Mr. Alagaya has recovered from his bowel cancer, but I don't regard him as anything other than a person reading an announcement. I mean, we don't turn the people who work at Clapham Junction and who tell you that the train's going to be a bit late. Are they celebrities? Well, they may as well be, because all they're doing is reading an announcement. In fact, they might have written their own announcement themselves, which is more than Mr. Alagaya does. Look, let's stop the cult of the newsreader, and let's stop stuffing British television with a rainbow nation. I mean, they'll be having Caitlyn Jenner on next, right? Don't object to people of colour being on the television. I'm not a racist. Really, I'm not. But I do think these things need to be said. The BBC is deliberately choosing people. Because I'm sure, don't forget, if Mr. Alagaya is doing this job, some other person isn't, right? So there's an opportunity for someone. I would be happily, I can read English, I can speak English. I'll be happy to be on the television, and I can save the BBC a lot of money. I will offer to do Mr. Alagaya's job for half what he's getting now. How about that? That's fair.